a sec, mate. Mel's coming in. Hi. What's up, bud? They're outside. Oh, from the buzzer thing, from the thing that I got, the beaver. Is that what you're talking about?
I just need sandpaper on the wall.
I don't know, hon.
Did you get fine sandpaper?
No, I just got the beaver thing. I didn't know you want to find sandpaper. I was just talking about the beaver. We can still use the beaver, but you just have to wait till after. All right.
Now you're in trouble, mate.
No, I don't think so.
Hasn't gone well.
Just from-
I'll leave all this in.
It wasn't it was a frustrated Oh, have you started?
Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
I'll put that at the end. A little
Welcome to
teaser.
married life.
Yeah. How Gavin and Mel deal with conflict. That could be a bonus.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right, mate. Let's do it. Hey, I'm Mitchell Davis, a Laravel developer.
Hey, I'm Gavin Tye, a sales and marketing person, co-founder. I thought I'd join you with your hat today, Mitch. You keep wearing your hat backwards.
Yep, I
So,
like
mate,
it.
I'm here. Jeez, I look silly.
I don't know. I'll have to
I'm
get
leaving it
used
on,
to it.
mate. I'm leaving it
Yeah,
on. Yeah.
cool. We could be the backwards hat crew. I like it. This is
We're the
fantastic.
co-founders of SixSides.
We
Welcome
are.
to episode 7.
For those that don't know what's going on, Gavin has surprised me during our intro. He's not a big fan of doing these intros, so he keeps messing with me. But this one, he's put on a backwards hat like I'm trying to do every episode. I'm trying to rock the backwards hat. Surprised me with it during the intro. You can see that on YouTube, which we are putting all of these episodes up on YouTube for you to check out. Mate, you look good. I
Thanks,
think
mate.
this is your new look, I think.
Thanks. It was
You
my
could rock
trademark.
this.
With this quiff of the hair coming out the front.
Yeah, you got the quiff.
You wouldn't know. What's really interesting is I've got 4 plastic notches on my hat and you've got 2. You must have an enormous head.
I must. We still
Yeah.
haven't met up in person, so you haven't
Yeah,
seen me.
yeah.
I'm a freak show. I don't know, but yeah,
How's your,
it varies hat to hat. To be honest with you, there are some hats where yes, I have a lot of like this. I've had to extend this hat out. Actually, I don't know if maybe I am. My head is getting fatter. I'm not sure, but yeah, there are some other hats though where I reckon I'm rocking a 3-notch, maybe a 4.
That's very nice.
So yeah, look, we'll see when we catch up in person. We can compare
head size.
head sizes. Anyway, look, to finish off this crazy intro, we are building SixSides.co for now. We'll talk about that in a moment. And it is an events platform that helps you build a stronger community through events. And this show, Gavin, is our B2B SaaS journey. How you going, mate?
Yeah, well, excellent. It's I've been hesitant to listen to the episodes. I just got other things on. I prefer to listen to some other ones.
You're killing me with the hat. This is so funny.
It's not. I was not staying.
I like it. Just you're killing me.
And so I went back and listened to episode 2 today about some of the opportunities that we were chasing and some of the lessons. It's only 5 weeks ago, and so much has changed since then. And it's refreshed my memory. There was one about like Blaze. What's the one about redundancy? The website
Backblaze.
Backblaze, which I haven't done, which I'll follow up. But then I've got the Mac Mini. Yeah, it's a lot. We're knocking out some stuff, even though it's not our side hustle, but not our main priority. But mate, big news this week.
Yeah, we got a lot. All right, you lead with that. What happened this week? Some big, exciting news.
So we got verbal agreements on 2 clients today, this week. So yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, and there's
very exciting. Our first 2.
Yeah, and it's been fantastic. I think one of the episodes we talked about how the meeting went really well, and we really connected with them. And we had a meeting with the 2 ladies this week, and they were so excited. They're like, "We are ready to go. We want to work with you." And it was fantastic,
And they were really keen on being early adopters as well. They fancied themselves as like, yep, we're excited by new stuff and we want to be involved while you're, on like ground floor type stuff. And
Mhm.
that was awesome. That's perfect for us, especially right now.
Yeah.
So it was
And I'm
great.
embarrassed to say, like, I care about this stuff so much. I got a bit of a tear afterwards. And
Yeah.
I know you were laughing after. You're like,
No,
geez,
I
what's going on here? But
I
it's,
have since told a few people that I thought that was very sweet. At
don't
first I
say that.
thought,
Don't say
no,
sweet, mate. Come on.
why? That's all right. It's true though, because it's like this type of thing. Yes, obviously it was a significant moment for me as well. Doesn't make me tear up. Seeing you, who is normally fairly cool, calm, collected, and you don't get too like I don't know. We're different personalities. It was very interesting to see you like, oh, this is what affects you,
Yes.
is like getting a deal. And it's probably not even just that. It's like knowing that, okay, we're going to have a positive impact on their events,
Yeah, 100%.
um, and
So,
their communities. And so, yeah, so I did. I've since told my family about that, and that it was like, that makes me feel like this is not only have you been awesome as a co-founder so far, but things like that is like, oh, this was the right choice.
yeah,
Like you really care about this stuff. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
fantastic.
okay. Yeah, yeah, it's, well, if you watch the outtakes of this later on at the end, me and my wife having somewhat of a conflict, I told her about it and she just laughed at me, told me I was an idiot. She
There
knows
you
me too
go.
well.
Well,
Yeah,
we all
yeah,
pull different things out of it. So
yeah. So the next thing is here is like this has come a little bit quicker. Well, one, it's excellent. It's great.
yeah,
It's forced us to speed up the process of the business, right? And we need
yeah,
to work on our invoicing, which we'll do this afternoon, and get that in place because yeah, we kicked off, got the bank accounts all finalized this week, got Stripe all set up, which we'll talk about in a second.
yeah,
Yeah, it's great. And the challenge we have now is how do we turn those 2 wins into 5 wins, or how do we turn them into other wins? Which is, if we can solve that, then we're well on the way to exponential growth over time, right?
yeah.
Crazy.
We worked through a lot. So we had some challenges with the bank account, which was annoying. But it's not like they didn't want to give us an account or anything. It was just they needed some documents or something for one of the like businesses that, Gavin and I are sort of coming to the table with to own this new business. And so that was just annoying because it wasn't really clear what they were doing, and what they needed. But anyway, eventually we got that sorted. And then we're in the middle at the moment of going through and figuring out terms and conditions, and trying to do that the most financially efficient way possible at the moment, to try to not spend crazy amounts on, on lawyer fees and stuff
Well,
before we're
yeah.
even pre-revenue.
Well, I had a session with a friend of mine who's starting his own business. He's starting his own software company as well, Roman Kalikoff from Reckitt. He's like a CPA or an accountant. So we actually traded time with each other this week. I got him to show me how he set it up and what he
Cool.
recommends with between HubSpot, Stripe, and Xero.
Yep.
And then on the inverse, we spent half an hour. I showed him how to set up Apollo and what I would do with Apollo. And
Yep.
so it's it was actually good. It was a good lesson because we don't always have to pay someone to do something.
Yeah.
We can trade our time for other people. So yeah, and that accounting part of the issue was sending those forms into the bank is I just see some of that stuff and I get overwhelmed. It's not my strong
Yeah.
suit. But he just goes, "Yep, I'll fix it for you." And he actually fixed that issue for us once we got
Yeah.
clarity from the bank. But
Amazing.
yeah, and I recorded it for you to have a look at, Mitch, so we can actually set it up and have a look at it in HubSpot. So
Cool.
yeah, it was
Okay.
good. So we got that set up. That'll set us up how to set up our terms of service and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, well, great. And then I set up the Stripe account and Xero, which we'll use to do our bookkeeping and stuff and invoicing from Xero into Stripe so people can pay. And that was all fairly smooth, getting those set up and just had to provide like director details and all that sort of thing to
Yeah.
Stripe. But their
Yeah.
onboarding was awesome. And I was hoping you were free to hop on a call, but I ended up just taking some screenshots of Stripe's onboarding, which I think they've improved recently, because I set up an account maybe at the start of the year. I don't remember it looking like this. So
Yeah.
it was great. I took a bunch of screenshots as I was going through the onboarding, because you basically select like what features you're looking for, like how you want to charge people. Are you doing subscriptions? Are you collecting tax? All this sort of stuff. And it had this awesome like floating card here sitting on the right, the features on the left, this floating card on the right. And basically, as you like checked off different features, it would update the card. It got me thinking about, for the us setting up the mobile apps for
Yeah.
our customers, just thinking through like, oh, there's some really cool interfaces. Like you and I have talked about, I think we talked last week, was it maybe, about the having almost like a simulation of the
Yeah.
mobile app inside the website as you're doing onboarding. And it was inspiring. So it wasn't like, oh my God, this is the world's best thing ever. It wasn't like that, but it was just really cool to see like, oh, there's other people are already doing this type of thing in this space. There's some
Yeah.
really good onboarding experiences. It was
It's
great
such
to,
a interesting, right? I think when a friend of mine set a challenge a couple of years ago, he said, if you do ever build a software business, he goes, remember when we worked for this other company, we were such a small team at about 20. Once it got above 20, 25, it started breaking out and you went into groups. But with a sub 20, you could maintain those relationships more one-on-one.
yep,
Um, and he said, or like he goes, I challenge you, if you start a business, to try not to grow above 15 people, right?
right.
And so to do that, the better you onboard and the better that you have a great experience and the better that you collect the data, is the less people you're going to have to do to supplement the poor experience, right? Or
Yeah.
to account. So um, that's come up in this onboarding for, we've been talking to some potential people. We're waiting on another one or two people to
Yeah.
come back to us. On that, Mitch, I have some bad news. The conference that with Zoe was at is not going to happen this year. I
Ah,
spoke to her just before. I was hoping I was going to get another answer, but they've had too many people change, and that's the. Sometimes you
yeah.
can do everything right in a sale, and it's just circumstances beyond your control
Yep.
influence, and that's why if you're only ever chasing one or two, the likelihood of that impacting you is high. But if you're chasing 10 to 20, it does not matter if one or two fall out, right? So yeah, it's okay if
Yeah,
we move on. It's
you've proven that out, because at the start of the year, when you and I were just kind of getting started, there was an event that we were kind of chasing, and uh, for a variety of reasons, it didn't end up going through, and it hit me pretty hard, because I was pretty hopeful that we would get that one. It sounded like all the signs, everything was going in the right direction, but didn't work out. And yeah, it bummed me out pretty hard. So with this news now, like, that's unfortunate, and you and I have put quite a bit of work into getting this particular event up and running, but so be it. It is what it is.
it is what it
So
is. Yeah. And it's just it's just the nature of it. But there's, as long as you can learn from there, like I spoke to Zoe today and she said, I'll still be on your client advocate board. And she goes, I don't know where I'll end up, but I love what you're doing and I've recommended you for next year. That doesn't mean anything because she doesn't have influence.
yeah,
But we played the best hand that we could have played. And
yeah,
sometimes it's poker, you just lose on the other side. There's nothing you can do
yeah,
about it. But you move
yeah.
on. So yep.
That's right.
Move on.
Onwards
Um,
and upwards.
so yeah, the we were talking to some other of the potential opportunities. Sorry to circle back, and we're trying to think about ways to make it easier for them when we do onboard. So we'll end up. I've been using custom GPTs in my business of sales market fit. I'm actually building an agent, like a more detailed agent. Um, but I have been using custom GPTs or building them. And so we're going to design a bit of a custom GPT to help with messaging.
Yeah,
So the event organizers can go out and try to cement the value of SixSides in their messaging to increase interest and potential clients or sponsors or attendees or speakers to come and see the value that they'll get. So
Exactly. And the idea, right, is that that messaging will be tailored to the voice of the conference or the event, right?
Yep.
So it's not just our copy of, okay, this is why, the app is going to make a better experience for you. It's the event's voice as to, the specifics of their community and what they might be valuing and things like that. So this is kind of a helpful feature for getting that messaging out and having it resonate. So yeah, that's how far off that do you think you are? Not, I guess
about
I'm
as far
putting you
as
on
you
the
can
spot.
be, because I haven't
Yeah,
even looked at it yet.
but it's an idea,
It
and that's the
wouldn't take me
important
too
thing.
long. It won't take me too. Oh, we have to update the feature list, so we use the feature list as the backbone. At the moment, there is some future stuff in there, so we can't use the feature list. So we have to actually. I'll put that on a topic to do, like a to-do list next week,
Yep.
because we don't want to overpromise. As soon as we overpromise and overshoot,
Yep.
that's just going to cause problems for the event organizer, which is not what we want. So, yep.
Absolutely, that's a bad idea.
All right,
Cool.
mate, your big news that you've been waiting for to talk about. I've never seen you this excited.
Oh,
What's your
please.
big news, mate?
We got the .com.
Wow.
So we purchased SixSides.com about 10 minutes before we started recording. And do you care about saying how much it was? It's like,
I don't care.
yeah, doesn't matter. So it ended up being about $5,000, which is the most expensive domain I've ever purchased.
3,000 US. 3,000 US, right?
3,000 US. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And I had pushed for this with Gavin because, like, for Sales Market Fit, you use .co, salesmarketfit.co, and we got that originally. SixSides.co was our domain after we pivoted from EventKit. We've had more names than than a phone book. Um, it feels like. Anyway, after we pivoted from EventKit, we knew we needed another name because EventKit was taken. And then we saw SixSides.com was available, but it was expensive to buy. It wasn't just at the like $20 a year or whatever. Someone already had it. But they weren't using it. It was up for sale on these like auction type sites. And we saw that .co was available, and Gavin convinced me, okay, let's just do this. It's something to get started with. We can always look at the .com later, which I agree with. But what has changed is now, like, getting some of these verbal yeses. It does add some revenue into the business. We're yet to charge for any of those, but things are looking pretty good. Things are going in the right direction, certainly. And the other factor is that we are thinking about how we will build out one app and just get one app into the marketplace on the App Store, Play Store, that would then serve all of our future events that we have on there, as opposed to how it worked for Laracon Australia last year, where we just had a Laracon Australia app that was in the App Store and Play Store. And why this ties into the domain is that I'm thinking, well, if at some point we wanted to buy the .com, I would rather do it before we roll out a mobile app or multiple mobile apps for individual events. If it takes us a bit longer to kind of consolidate everything into one app, I don't want to be dealing with like someone's app at a conference doesn't load properly because it's trying to talk to a now old domain name.
So talk to me about how that. What does that implicate for people who don't know? Because I don't know what that means.
So basically, well, we already have this at the moment. So we have in the Laracon app is a perfect example. So the Laracon app hard coded into the logic of the app, it's pointing to eventkit.dev, which is the domain that I set up for the system way back when, right? Now, you can change that, but to change it, you have to release an update to the app. And
Right.
so the idea would be that we will roll out an update for that app, but also for like any future apps that we're doing, they need to talk to where our infrastructure is hosted and
Okay.
is available. And
Right.
that would now be, once this all goes through, that would now be on the .com and not
Right.
on .co or on eventkit.dev. So if we go and make changes to the domain name, then that will mean that we would need to roll out an app update at some point in the future to get people that have that older version of the app talking to our old domain name and old infrastructure, get them pointed across to the right one.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we are doing some things. There's only one call that the app makes, which is effectively hard-coded. After that call that it makes to say, hey, I'm an attendee at Laracon Australia, give me what I need to know to then run this app. At that point, we can tell that app, hey, go and talk to us over here. We're now available over here on .com. We can do that, but it's just that very first call. The app needs to know somewhere, who
Yeah,
it
right.
should talk to get more info about
Yeah.
this event or
Okay.
etc.
So on one or two apps out there, it's not that hard. But if you've got 10 and you get it wrong, it's going to cause issues. And yeah, right. Okay.
And the thing I really wanted to avoid is like if you've got an attendee, the idea is that hopefully in time we will be having events every week, or every day. There will never be a good time, probably in an ideal world, if we're doing well, there's never going to be a good time to roll out a change like that where someone potentially downloaded the app for a conference 2 weeks ago. They haven't opened it. They haven't done anything with it yet.
Yeah.
They rock up to the event and then now it doesn't work and they've got a really bad experience. So
Yeah. Okay.
that's why I kind of pushed to let's just do this now, bite the bullet.
Yeah.
It was only 5,000 as opposed to 20,000 or 50,000 where it's like, okay, this is not doable right now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So felt right.
I was thinking about the other day, because I'm just thinking about it from the conference organizer, like there's maybe one or two people there, but I didn't really think too much about it. There could be hundreds or thousands of attendees. Like for each event, there is definitely a few hundred, but there could be a couple thousand, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have to make sure we're giving them a good experience and that the app, isn't, hey, we've actually updated it doesn't pop up with a message when they first open it, hey, you need to go download a new version. It's like, this is just bad. So
yeah, gotcha.
I really wanted to get that all correct. And that to me was worth the investment of this $5,000 up front,
Gotcha. And because I think we haven't got there yet because our functionality doesn't lend it to it, right? We're doing single apps because that's just currently where it's at. But we want to help build a community or help bring the community together and then help build it through further events if we can. And having them download separate apps is just, it's going to be effort prohibitive, right? Whatever that's it's going to be, it's not going to work. So we've got to reduce the amount of effort required to do that.
That and by having one app where all of our events go into, then you only download it once ideally. And we know people will probably delete the app as well after a conference if they don't need it anymore, right? But if we can try and keep them in the ecosystem with just one app, that's way better than having to download an app for this event and then another one for over here, and we lose track of who you are and you got to keep logging in with ticket codes and stuff. We're trying to think through how can we make that easier. And we made some good progress this week. We had a call to kind of plan through how some of that might work. And I'm excited to start working on some of that. To try and figure out, okay, is that going to be doable for any of the events that we have this year?
Yep.
Can we get that done in time? I mean, currently these two events that we've got the verbal yes on are quite late in the year. So we've got some time between now and then, but it would be great to to just know, okay, this is exactly how it works moving forward. And then,
Yep.
because we have had some questions from some of the other potential events that we're talking to that have asked, like, is this going to be an app just for us, or is this a shared app, a SixSides app? And
Yeah.
we've kind of had to go back to them and say, right now it's kind of both.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'd love to just have one answer.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. What else are you working on this week, mate, or next week? I think might be a short episode this.
That's a good question. What am I working on? So I think we will largely need to focus now on the legal stuff, getting the terms and conditions sorted. We've got the bank account, we've got Stripe and Xero. We need to get into HubSpot, and I did have a question for you as well on tracking deals there. But yeah, I think just getting our ducks in a row now, so that we can move quickly on any other verbal yeses and turn them into actually signed yeses.
Yep.
So let me ask then about HubSpot. So you asked me the other day, how much did we say we were going to charge someone for an event that they've said yes to? And I was curious, are you using HubSpot's deal tracker thing? You still using that to
Yeah, I'm sporadic with it because we're not using it too much. We're not doing too much.
yeah.
So I'm being quite sporadic, and I'm relying heavily on Fireflies. So
Yeah.
I did go back and have
Why
a
don't you
look at
explain what that is?
Fireflies is a meeting recording app. So it's actually just taking notes, and I'm not very good at taking notes. I like to watch and then like it's all about body language and
Be in the
talking
moment.
and making sure it's I'd rather do that than take notes.
Yeah.
So Fireflies is taking notes, and sometimes I forget what necessarily we speak about, because sometimes pricing is really only really quick. And I
Yeah.
know with Michael we ranged it, and I just didn't remember what the range was, and so I did figure that out in between asking you, and so I haven't. Yes, I haven't. So now we need to nut out that range. So hopefully, you've spoken
Yeah.
to him and he's all good with that. So
I haven't, but I will. I'll message him today. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just curious about whether you're tracking in there, because I know when we first got set up, when you first got me set up with HubSpot, I could go in and see all the deals, and it's actually really cool. If you haven't seen it before, you're a developer in like a sales organization, maybe you can get in and have a look, because it's like a Kanban board, but for your sales, which is pretty cool.
I do. It's the challenge, like, because I run Sales Market Fit through HubSpot, and then we run SixSides. Gmail is not very good. It doesn't allow you, to my knowledge, I should check it. I will actually check it, to run two pipelines at the same time through email, because it just reads one version of email and one HubSpot. So, to my knowledge, but at the moment I can remember most things. With Sales Market Fit's a little bit different, but then I've slowed down my sales on that a little bit, I'm more researching at the moment. So one of the things I spoke to Roman about was setting up individual payment links. So when someone says, yes, they want to go ahead, then we can actually create the payment link and track the payment in HubSpot, but it'll send out the Stripe link through HubSpot, and it'll catch it into Xero as well. So,
okay.
yeah.
Wow.
So so you can see all the payment links out. Yeah, I've never used it like that before, but we have to set up for scale so we can get in and go and just go very quickly, and then like streamlining this process so it doesn't linger. Which is, I think, is the right thing to do here. So
yeah, for sure. Well, it'll be exciting to see. I have used payment links before, but not attaching them to like a Xero invoice or doing HubSpot integrations and stuff.
Straight into a HubSpot invoice, right? They got a commerce module in there.
Okay, all right. Maybe we can have a look at that. You can send me this recording that you did with Roman.
Sure.
Yeah, sweet. I mean, apart from that, Progress has stalled a little, I'll be honest, with the meeting bookings, simply because I've been kind of pulled in some other directions. So this is going to be a common occurrence on this show of us, battling for our time with SixSides and then also our other businesses. And for those that don't know, I run a
Yeah.
Laravel.
And we were rushing that up for this other
Yeah.
opportunity, which is a good lesson. Sometimes it happens so much. You bend over backwards to someone and they change their mind.
Yeah.
But we needed to do it anyway. But now we don't have to get it done for a decision. We can actually slow down on it.
Yeah. To be clear, I want to. It's just like I want to get in and work on this. It's just about prioritizing that time. And I'm kind of, it's been revealed to me that I seem to work to a deadline. And so if this had have had like hey, this needs to be ready on April 1st or whatever, then I'm certain I would have made it happen. But you're right. As soon as well, I didn't even know until we hopped on to do this recording. But I could kind of get a sense that things weren't going. It wasn't necessarily going in our direction, right? Over the last week or so.
You'll always get a sense.
Yeah, that's right. So I kind of had a feel of like, yeah, okay, like maybe I can slow down a little, even if that was just subconsciously, because it's not like I've been sitting here not doing anything. I've been working my butt off, but I have had to be working on some other stuff. So it's kind of interesting to see us over time, and I guess specifically me, because you kind of seem to be able to juggle, it seems like a million plates at a time without it really affecting you. I really struggle with that. It'll be interesting to see how I go as far as building out new stuff or working on, any of the stuff that this business requires of me, and how I go with that while juggling everything else if it's not deadline based, where the deadline really enforces like, hey, you need to do this next. There's no like question mark of, oh, but maybe I could do that and quickly squeeze this in, and so it's like just a prioritization thing, maybe. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Well, we have talked about that a little bit, and I know Rolly, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, he sent through an example of how they use, and I talk about it, and I know that we're investigating AI, how they would do this, and it's the learning curve of learning it that's going to take time as well. But how do we at least? Because I sometimes I see you struggling, and I'm like, I can't help, like I don't know how to help. But I was like, okay, well, I think I can help with the website a little bit, at least the structure. It doesn't have to be perfect, but there's a million other things I can list off, about 10 things that you need to do. Yeah. And for me, I just try to make it simple. There's just only a couple of things that I need to do. Unfortunately, you're a task-driven role, right?
Yeah.
I'm a more concept and outcome-driven role. It's a different thing. Right?
Yeah. I think that's fair to say. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and yours is like very reliant on other people as well, right? Because like if someone won't meet with you, there's no update to give them, So yours is it's kind of like you're reacting as things are coming in. Mine is like, hey, we need this thing, and just find some time to get in and do it,
Yeah, yes and no. Like there's some work that I need to do, like the method that I use with my clients, like called the 5-8 methods, about positioning or creating demand and making sure that they need to use us or need to change from what they're currently doing and need to use us. I haven't done that in the business yet, but mainly because I think I know it in my head. I just haven't got it out on paper, which I need to go through the exercise. So by our meeting next week, I'll commit to doing the first part of that, the as is and to be model. We call it the fat guy, skinny guy model. And then we'll go from that. Because I want to learn more about the process around setting up an event, which I'm not that knowledgeable on yet. So
yeah, cool. Okay.
Well, we can only do what we can do, Mitchell Davis.
Thank you. Thanks for making me feel better about not doing meeting bookings yet.
Yeah, it's all right. We haven't needed it. Yeah.
Well, it's true. So kind of coming up for next week I am also thinking through like some other game ideas inside of the app, different ways that we could incentivize networking or try and drive other priorities that maybe the event organizer might have, different to what we're doing at the moment. So just trying to think through some different options, because it would be great to have a few ideas, or game options that the event organizer might be able to pick,
Sure. So I think about I'm thinking about, yes, that's fun, right? The games are fun, and it is really the backbone of getting people to interact with each other. But like my mind goes in order of priority. Like one of the priorities I think we have is how do we get off a single version of an app, right? And I don't know the complexities around that. I don't know what the limitations are. So it would be great to set up a session and have to go, hey, these are the constraints that we have to operate in an app. Because I think once we have that sorted, and then the other stuff can come from it, right? So people can pick what they want. But
is this like features you're talking about? Like, hey,
no,
do
like
you
how
want...
it would, because at the moment we've got to run a single app for an event, right?
Yep.
So how do we transition into a one app for everything, and then how does that look like for the user? Because I think that has to come first, because we have an idea or a theory on how to achieve, I hate the word virality, but for lack of a better word, that, right? So people have one event and they pick it up and use it again for something else, but they can't do it in a current form. So we have to be able to build something to facilitate that. And I think that's a priority there, right? To hopefully get the events coming up, use the single app, and then allow them to facilitate. And then we go from that one breeds two, those two breed four, and go from there. So that's where my thinking is at the moment. So
okay. Well, we've got a lot of thinking to do before we can then build, I guess. So sounds like we've got a nice easy week next week, mate.
Yeah.
We're off the hook, I feel.
Well, not if we give you a timeline.
Oh yeah, that's right. We'll see how we go. All right. Why don't we wrap up here? I've been Mitch Dav. You can find me on LinkedIn and Blue Sky. Who are you, Gavin?
I'm Spesh.
I'm Gav. Spesh. Check the
Gavin Tye.
YouTube to know what we're talking about. You look like a trucker now.
Yeah, trucker hat. Yeah. Thank you for listening. If you're listening today, and if you've got any questions, leave them in the or you can send an email to journey@sixsides.co, probably soon.com.
We'll get it sorted.
Or you can reach out to us on LinkedIn, and we're happy to answer them.
Absolutely. Leave us a review and 5-star rating and all of that, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks, Gav.
Perfect, mate.